I would like to take some time today to talk about a significant problem that the community is currently dealing with and will continue to deal with in the future. Women are fighting back against the MGTOW movement, which is something that women themselves started. Although this concept is going to be challenging to understand, it is vital that you pay attention to it because it is of such critical significance. I can't stress enough how important it is for you to pay attention to anything I have to say. This is something that I will not often tell you to do, so without further ado, let's get straight to the point and start doing it. Due to the fact that their strategy has practically been rendered ineffective, women are currently attempting to put an end to the MGTOW movement. I am curious as to what their strategy is. You ask, but first I have to explain how third-wave feminism has produced many problems, most of which will be discussed in the following video that I will upload. In this way, the ideology of feminism has been beneficial to men, but in any case, let's get back on track and talk about what the plans of women were. They desired to establish an anti-men society due to the fact that the majority of them had unfortunately been indoctrinated by third-wave feminism in recent years. Furthermore, they are employing every strategy at their disposal, such as amending the laws, swaying the opinions of lawmakers, and utilizing social media platforms like YouTube, for instance. And perhaps worst of all, indoctrinating young children with their anti-male propaganda from an early age. YouTube is a fantastic illustration of what I mean by social media, just as I thought it would be when I was discussing those platforms before. YouTube is tolerant of left-leaning viewpoints and encourages feminists and other anti-male notions. They prepared a film for Mother's Day, but there was no video for Father's Day. Come on, YouTube. Society embraces this third-wave feminism rubbish in the belief that it is okay for women to have everything for free. Also, it is believed that men are expected to perform all tasks without payment. Now that we have that issue resolved, let's talk about how MGTOW came into being. Because of third-wave feminism started pushing their propaganda crap on society, and as a result, it made life an absolute living hell for men. When I say literal, I am referring to hell in its most straightforward form. Hence, at some point, one person decided that enough was enough and began going against what everyone else was doing. Then, when the principles were rapidly disseminated to social media, other people who appreciated the idea understood the issue and began to follow the philosophy of MGTOW. Although this is not exactly how MGTOW came to be, it did happen in a manner quite similar to that. After conducting some research, I was astonished to discover that one of the blog posts I came across was published more than 10 years ago. I had no idea that MGTOW was inactive. I was astounded by this blog post in particular, this blog post, which was published on the 2nd of January in the year 2006. If memory serves, it was written by MGTOW. I was not aware that MGTOW has been around for over a decade. This information comes as a shock to me. Wow, I completed this research in the middle of my editing, so of course I didn't have the time to read through it all. I can't possibly read everything to you guys, so let's just go on to the next step now that you have a general understanding of how MGTOW is constructed. Let's talk about how to put an end to the third wave of feminism because you can't, no matter how hard you try, given the current state of the country and its culture. You are not able to stop it, which is sad. Nevertheless, there is one method that you can stop it, and that is to ignore it. If you are wondering how you can ignore it, the answer is straightforward. Just go to MGTOW. Because you can put your faith in me and take my advice in this predicament. If you can't find a solution to the problem, just ignore it. Although God knows how long it might take you, you should be aware that it might already be having an effect. I was viewing a video, and although I can't remember where I found it, it may have been in the US and Australia. It was demonstrating how these ladies were attempting to revert back to the role of traditional housewives, like how the house was in the 1950s when women were celebrated as housewives. They did their part in the partnership, took care of the children living in the residences, and avoided being welfare queens and other such things. Man, those were the good old days, but I was talking to Team MGTOW on Wednesday night, and we both agreed that this third wave of feminist garbage won't end anytime soon. Man, those were the good old days. It's possible that it will stop happening between 20 and 30 years from now, but we won't know for sure until it actually does. Like I stated before, it was really when I saw those women attempting to go back to being typical housewives that really altered my attitude to that. It really changed my opinion on that. Now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's get on to the main point of the film, which is to point out that women are attempting to halt the big-time trend. Third-wave feminism is the movement that they are responsible for starting, if I may remind you of that. I'll demonstrate with an example now. This is a real-life example, and it's the thing that brought to my attention the fact that some women are working to undermine the MGTOW movement. Besides that, you should know that I contemplated this topic, and when I did, I approached it as though I were analyzing this situation as a whole. To tell you the truth, it was a stupid thing to do, but nevertheless, here's what went down. I was browsing the internet on my own time when I came across a video on YouTube of a woman on a bicycle acting irrationally during a traffic check. The video was a dash cam footage of a police car, and I commented on it by saying, This is why I don't want to get married. I was referring to the woman who was going crazy over a minor traffic ticket. It didn't make any sense, and I have no idea why she was going crazy over that. Anyway, I didn't want to imply that I dislike women, and I certainly didn't mean to say anything that would cause a woman to feel offended. I just stated that I have no interest in getting married, and I failed to understand how that could be considered insulting. I did mention that I was a MGTOW, and first of all, women being a MGTOW isn't in any way sexist. However, I'm not sure if this particular individual identifies as a feminist or not. However, a young lady by the name of Taylor responded to my message by telling me to fuck off with your MGTOW, which is another way of saying sexism. Look, I may not have a huge brain, but I don't have one okay. I don't have a lot of intelligence, but I was able to use some of it to come up with a clever response to her reply. I said something along the lines of, "It seems that we have here an offended one. Let's attempt to talk with it," in response to her comment. Okay, the MGTOW movement is not sexist. Rather, it is about men breaking cultural norms by not getting married and generally rebelling against established practices. MGTOW is not sexist, and the arguments that people use to justify it are not sexist. Rather, they are the truth. And we all know that bitches can't handle the truth. MGTOW is not sexist, and the reasons that people use to excuse it are not sexist either. You are such a spoiled brat that you should get the fuck out of here and return to your safe area. I go to MGTOW events because of women like you, and so do a lot of other people. Right then and there, I realized that this was one of those teaching moments that a mom would do to their kid, but thank God I don't have a kid of my own to teach. Anyway, as the next day rolled around, she was devastated, and the MGTOW community was responsible for her demise, so I thought I'd share this with you guys. I mean, from this point on, I'm going to assume that they're MGTOW. Since they are obviously against her, and they are on my side regardless, a handful of ruined remarks after some time had passed, I decided to add another column to that video's transcript in order to share it with you all and the rest of the MGTOW community. I was also responding to another individual on YouTube whose username was Coke, although I'm not sure whether he was talking about the soda or cocaine. Anyway, I typed in that I believe there are some valuable lessons to be learned from this, gentlemen. First, the term MGTOW is misogynistic. Second, you shouldn't mess with the MGTOW community. And third, MGTOWers are the only viable option. I don't enjoy cussing, and one of my goals for the new year was to refrain from doing so. However, I had no choice but to cuss in this situation. This is one of the most important reasons why I made this film for you. Don't allow the ladies to hold you back. I'm not making this video to tell you guys how I wrecked this woman in the YouTube comment section. Okay, maybe I partially did. But the main reason that I'm making this video is because I want to let you guys know that women are trying to stop the MGTOW movement, and I don't want them to stop you from maintaining your hope. I'm not making this video to tell you guys how I wrecked this woman in the YouTube comment section. Okay, maybe I partially did. And everything will work out for you just like in the demonstration that was given to you today as an example.